Hello, everyone. Good evening. Dr. Rao here. Welcome for a evening discussion on this is a very important question for our civilization because are we in thought or awareness is a fundamental question for this age because if you are in the thought all the time, thinking thought all the time, and not knowing anything better, you have a heavy head, brain fog, overwhelm, and chattering, and really going neurotic with that. You know, so many of the modern people um, they bank a lot in thought, and it's a brilliant instrument. It's not. It's it's not good, but it is good. But we don't know how to use it, and we kind of bring our heads completely full of that, right? I was brought up with thinking is better. Thinking you should be thinking and doing stuff. Don't do anything unless you think about it. You thought about it, and you will be really doing a lot for yourself when you think through things. Right? This is the standard thing, and also thinking people are good people. Thinking people have considered all options and then wisely choosing the best option. So don't do anything impulse, but do after consideration, after thinking a lot. That was the standard raising, right? And we were complimented because we are thoughtful and we kind of do stuff after considering all factors involved. And they were teaching us a lot of things about you have to be like a prime minister of a kingdom. They used to tell us if you ask something, a soldier will bring only that. But a prime minister of a kingdom, he will think around it and he will bring the best. So, all in all, thinking was good and thinking should be there, and thoughtful people are good people. Are. So, that's no change. Where the change happened was too many thinking things happened, and at some point, you got to stop and say, what is that I'm thinking about? You should have the reflection. That is not there. And also, there were so many stimuli that are coming at us. It was not like that before. Even in my childhood, even my youth, we didn't have so many input. We don't have the phone to carry with us, and we don't have so many news channels or entertainment 24 hour day. And we were much blessed, probably. But then the stimuli has grown, the thinking has grown, thinking has become persistent, right? And also, there was this occurrence with Rene Descartes. Okay, he's a French philosopher, good guy, but he wanted to establish there should be some basis which should say, I am, therefore, because of this, I am. That kind of. So he kind of illustrated a lot of things, and he kind of, you know, he felt that I should establish myself with something solid. Then he said, okay, thinking seems to be for sure. I'm thinking. That's why as a human being, I am thinking, and thinking gives me memories. Thinking gives me imagination, plan, and I can think through things and then do stuff better, right? So that's no problem. But he kind of said, I think, therefore I am. Remember Rene Descartes, the philosopher from France, he did this way back several hundreds of years ago. And Western civilization stuck to it literally. And everything developed from that. Thinking is good, thinking is solid, thinking on the basis. But then there is a distinct difference from what used to be in the ancient times. They did not say, I think, therefore I am. They said, I am conscious, therefore I am. So they kind of identified with consciousness and they said, in the consciousness, thoughts are happening to me. So that way they understood much deeper than Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes is a good guy. It's not that he is bad, but what consequences from his observation, that is significant. That's a big deal, right? So, and now reflecting on that statement, how we got stuck to the thinking, how we got the bad effects of the constant thinking is our issue. Okay. So, and also, what is the reality? Do you feel that you know you are thinking and thoughts are happening to you? Are you aware of the thoughts? Or thoughts are aware of you? So obviously you say, I'm aware of my thoughts. Whatever I'm thinking, I'm aware. So awareness of your thoughts is first, and then thought. I think Descartes should have waited a little bit and then said, I'm conscious, therefore I am. You know who said this? Our Eckhart Tolle. He said that he was too soon. He said, I think, therefore I am. He should have said, I am conscious, therefore I am. I agree with him. I think that's the fact. Okay. It's not something Eckhart Tolle discovered. He just knew that consciousness was there. And when his thought was operating on him, and he was thinking continuously. Do you know the story of Eckhart Tolle? He's a wonderful, wonderful person from, actually, he was raised in England, I think, but he lived in Canada and also. He wrote that book called Now, right? And he also called the quote of New Earth, you know. And he came in with Oprah Winfrey and became very popular. And a lot of people are reading that book now and living in the present moment. That Eckhart Tolle said, Rene Descartes said this, but they actually should have waited a little bit and said, I am conscious, therefore I am. What happened to Eckhart was having a divorce of his parents, and he was a teenager. So he had to be going away from his mother to live with his father. And he went into deep depression because of that. And then he was also not adjusting to society's demands and not working and all that led to for him to be deeply depressed. And his thought was always telling him, kill yourself. And then that this particular thought was coming to him all the time. I want to kill myself. Then one fine evening, he said, who is this want to kill himself? Are there two in me? And then with that, he was able to see all the depressive thoughts, everything are just a mechanism of thought. They come and go. But because he is holding on to them and giving the identity that I am the thought, and he feels so depressed, is going. Actually, depressive mechanism is that you have a thought that is negative, you reinforce it, and then you make it much deeper. That's how the whole thing becomes really negative, deeper, deeper in depression. So Eckhart, that day, he was in the evening, I think, he was questioning, are there two in me that is telling one to kill the other? Or there is only thought that is saying this. When he identifies the thought apart from uh, his identification, and he knew thought is only coming and going, and that's not the reality. What is aware of his thoughts is the reality for him. And then the whole structure of thought dropped. He was in the consciousness, he was in the awareness. And then next morning, he looked at the world completely different. That will also happen to you if you could understand awareness is first and thoughts are second. And not only understand, but really see the truth of it. The moment your inner self is really realizes that I am this awareness. In that awareness, all the thoughts are happening. I'll show you how our brains have become heavy because of this thought. All the Western culture is developed on this so-called "I think, therefore I am" of the Rene Descartes statement. Okay, because anybody who is familiar with the ancient teachings, they knew they were not identifying thought as their identity like Rene Descartes did. And the first, subsequent European and American and other Western cultures have evolved. It has become, I am the thoughts, therefore I am the thought, my thoughts. Now we're going to go from I think, therefore I am to I am conscious, therefore I am. This is a short PAW teaching, proactive wellness teaching for modern minds, exploring the profound distinction between thought and awareness. Remember, I always say, I am in awareness and use thought consciously. I don't let the thought run me over. So, this distinction, this journey actually invites us to recognize that while thought is undeniably useful, I use it all the time. Awareness itself is fundamental. Underlying the thoughts, this awareness is there. So we will gently return to the inner light that knows all experience. So discovering our ground of being that has always been present. Thoughts come and go, but our underlying ground is always there. Follow me closely and pay attention because it could change lot of stress, lot of burnout, lot of things that people are going through. They can easily really understand what's going on within them and how they could drop this heavy burden that we create by ourselves by identifying with the thought. Okay, so if you can do that, then you will be able. So Rene Descartes in 1637, as I said, he's a French philosopher, and so he was in the quest for absolute certainty. So he made a bold philosophical move. So he wanted to seek verification from within rather than without. So he doubted everything. By doubting everything that could be doubted, he arrived at one seemingly unshakable truth. The very act of thinking proved his existence for him. So this was revolutionary at this time. At his time, it was revolutionary. And it was shifting foundation of knowledge to inner experience. Yet, this proof rests on a curious assumption. It ties existence itself to a mental activity, thinking. What happens then when thinking ceases? Okay, as I said, Descartes in 16th as well, searching for certainty in an uncertain world, but his proof depends on something intermittent, thought itself. That itself is intermittent, changing, right? So you know now, awareness is the fundamental underlying reality. Thoughts happen in our awareness. We are aware of our thoughts, right? Tell me somebody who is not aware of the thought. Everybody is aware of their thoughts. So we need to make a gentle upgrade of Descartes' statement, a more complete statement. Traditional view is I think, therefore I am. Existent proven by mental activity. But refined understanding, even from the older times, is not new. I am conscious, that means aware, therefore I am. So existence from known, actually existence known through awareness itself. Okay, this isn't a rejection of Descartes, but it's more completion of what he was intended to do. We don't exist because we think. We know exists because awareness is self evident, present, even in the spaces between the thoughts. Awareness is self evident, present even in the spaces of between thoughts. When we sleep deeply without dreams, thinking ceases entirely, right? Yet something continuous remains. We're not completely dead. There is something else remains. See, thoughts come and go like clouds across the sky. But the knowing presence, the sky itself, never wavers. So awareness is the sky and the thoughts are a cloud. Pay attention, that is very important to understand. Awareness is the constant, whereas the thought is the variable. Thoughts come and go. But then awareness never goes anywhere. This single recognition that thoughts come and go and awareness is the constant, that single recognition changes everything. For me at least, that changed everything. So I'm inviting you to look it that way. Okay, just think about it and understand what it is involved in that. Okay, so as you really go into this within yourself with the deeper understanding the distinction between the thought and awareness, thoughts is a mental event that arises and passes, comes and goes intermittently, right? Creates the division, me versus you, past versus future. Okay, all the time. See? But it's a useful tool for planning, problem solving, and communication. Thought is needed, but it can become compulsive if we identify with a thought. Okay, that is the thought. An event coming and going intermittently and creates division because it it creates division between what we have to what is. Now, whereas awareness is the field that knows all experiences, including the events of thought. But this is ever present background of consciousness. We are aware, awake and aware, right? That includes everything without dividing. Thought divides, but then awareness doesn't divide. It includes all the thoughts. This is consciousness is the seat of peace, clarity, and compassion. Self-luminous. Okay? So it's a important thing to understand. Okay? Self-luminous means that consciousness, the being, is requires nothing to know itself. It is evident by itself. So this is the heart of teaching. Thought is not the enemy, it is simply not the master. When we mistake ourselves for our thoughts, we become fragmented, anxious, perpetually seeking. So when we recognize ourselves as awareness itself, thoughts become useful instruments rather than demanding tyrants. So awareness is the foundation on which all experience unfolds. I will repeat that. Awareness is the foundation upon which all experience unfolds. The experience come and go, but they unfold within the foundation of awareness. Okay? So once you have that insight and then really operate on that and sense it, everything changes. You're no longer driven by thought. I'll give you a simple proof from everyday life. So when you are in deep sleep and the deep sleep arrives, what happens in the deep dreamless sleep? Thinking is completely absent. See, the narrative self is all its concerns and commentary, the narrative self dissolves into silence, right? And then when you awake in the morning, that morning awareness upon awakening, we naturally say, oh, I slept well, or I didn't sleep well. But who knew the quality of that rest? Your awareness. In the morning, first thing that you no thoughts there, but you can feel whether you slept well or not. And there is a continuous witness, something remained present throughout during the deep sleep. That is the awareness itself. Not thinking about sleep, but the fundamental knowing that registers all states. That fundamental knowing is the awareness. So we don't need elaborate philosophical arguments for this. Daily life that shows us the truth directly. The continuity of being is not dependent on the activity of thought. Important sentence. The continuity of being is not dependent on the activity of thought. So awareness is the constant thread running through waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Ancient called this Turiya. Turiya is the fourth state. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep are three states, and this is the fourth state, the unchanging ground beneath all changing states, thoughts, emotions, feelings, and all that. That's the unchanging ground, is our awareness, is our consciousness. Okay, that is the distinction between ancient understanding and modern understanding, right? So when you look at this, it becomes completely different, you know. So as we understand the distinction between awareness and also we have the simple proof from our everyday life, let's go and look at why modern life feels so heavy in our head. That's what I see. People are burned out because they are thinking too much. They're not reflecting. They're not stopping. They're not taking rest from that. They come and say, I'm doing my job, but I have too much work. I'm get exhausted. I'm thinking too much. My mind is going all the time. I cannot sleep. These are the things. My own CEO came to me and said, I cannot sleep because I'm doing 17 meetings a day. That is true. Okay. So why modern life feels so heavy? See, the contemporary existence, if you look at any profession, anything that is really informational world, it often feels exhausting because we live thought first, not awareness first. Important. It's a non-stop inner commentary, constant comparison, and relentless urgency. Everything has to be done. Oh, this is, I'll miss this. The mind basically never rests. We wake up thinking, spend the day thinking, and fall asleep still thinking. So identity becomes a story we tell ourselves. Actually, there is a story, and we're telling ourselves that is our identity, rather than a living presence we embody. We have the living presence, but we don't embody that. We kind of really identify with that identity we created as a story. That's why there is a perpetual mental narration, unending stream of analysis, judgment, and prediction that dominates the awareness, leaving no space for simple being. Just be ourselves. You want to think about it. You want to formulate a formula, and then you say, no, it's already there. You don't do anything. So perpetual mental narration is going on in the modern life, right? And second thing is this comparison and competition. Thought constantly measures. Am I enough? Do I have enough? Am I ahead of or behind? This creates persistent anxiety. You're comparing, competing all the time. And then time pressure and urgency. See, lost in thoughts of past regrets or future worries. We're always lost in that. So we miss the only moment that actually exists, which is now. Lost in past, lost in future, right? So What is the result of all this perpetual mental narration, comparison, competition, time pressure, and urgency? Anxiety, burnout, reactivity, and a profound sense of disconnection from ourselves, our inner self, and also from others, and from life itself. We are disconnected. So, when thought becomes our home base, which we are doing, the nervous system says it wants to stay in the perpetually on alert. If you are aware of all this, that restores our baseline of safety. As myself, I'm okay, but as I think that this and that breeds that uncertainty. Very important in this day of information overload, very important in the day of burnout in every profession and stress, right? People are really pursuing. So that is when you make the thought first thing. But suppose you understand living awareness is the first. In that thoughts are happened, that is what the ancient contemplative traditions across the world, not just one, from Vedic sages in India to desert fathers in Egypt, from Buddhist monks, China, Japan, and all that, to Sufi mystics of the Middle East, they all shared a common understanding. They lived awareness first and using thought as a tool when needed. That's what I always talk about. Stay in your awareness and use the thought consciously as a tool and end it. So you use it as a tool when needed and releasing it back into silence. This can be done. If I was able to understand and do it, you could do it too. But it's a question of how much you go into it, how much you understand, how much you bring it into your life. Then that has meaning. Okay. Because I'm an informatician, because I've been working with burnout and stress, because I'm working with all of you, I tell you, all of you, you got stuck in the mind. It's not accusation, it's a fact showing you. Okay. So this wasn't about rejecting thinking or becoming passive. That's not the intention at all. It was about knowing the difference between being possessed by thought and wielding thought skillfully. You can do that. You don't want to be taken over by the thought. You can wield it skillfully in your life. When awareness is recognized as primary, life naturally becomes an expression of service, devotion, and inner steadiness. Inner steadiness, very important. So ancient traditions didn't just transmit knowledge, they trained attention through direct experiential practice. Trained attention through direct experiential practice. This is the technology of inner freedom. That's what Eckhart Tolle also experienced. Inner freedom from that persistent thought. And then his depression dropped very much so. Okay. So my own PAR translation, proactive wellness translation, is this has got to do with your nervous system angle. This isn't just merely philosophical, it is a biological thing actually. So if you understand the distinction between thought dominance, which is currently happening with many people, maybe some people are working around it, that's fine. But I see people who are thought dominant and they have the problems and they come. So if you can have a distinction between thought dominance and awareness anchoring, that reveals profound implications for our physiology and well-being. How? Thought dominance is it kind of simpleton our system overdrive. Constant vigilance, elevated cortisol, fight or flight activation, because threat, inflammatory cascade, all these things happen with when you are the thought dominance. And actually, that produces radicals in our metabolic system. Whereas, what I tell you about vagus nerve and stimulation of the deep breathing against the sympathetic nervous system overdrive, this is about vagal tone activation. That is the antidote I always talk about. Parasympathetic engagement, steadiness, rest and digest system. That is what parasympathetic nervous system. Whereas sympathetic nervous system is about fight or flight, right? Antidote is deep breathing, vagal tone activation, right? So you have a clearer perception of things and also coherent heart-brain communication. All that happens because you have awareness plus breath. That is the one. You be silent, you watch your mind being silent, and also deep breath. This really activates the parasympathetic. And you get to integration of presence because that becomes a biological reset and a spiritual return to our natural state of ease. That is our real state, spiritual state, and we can't turn back. So when we return to the present moment sensing and conscious breathing, the vagus nerve pathways. That is the one. Present moment sensing and conscious breathing. This is the primary channel of parasympathetic system, nervous system, right? That supports calm and coherence. So this awareness is not an abstract mysticism. It's a return to optimal biological functioning, not being led by sympathetic overtone, anxiety, stress, and all that. Actually, the body knows the peace when the mind stops. It's agitated spinning. That's why they said, have a silent mind. And then your true inner self lights up, self reveals, self luminous, right? So now does it make sense to you when I do the morning routine? I say, be here and now, and also deep breathe. Constant, I tell you that. By doing that, you want to cultivate the presence in the morning and also activation of the parasympathetic nervous system and also not be in the activity of reactivity over the day. So those who are doing can relate to that now. Okay. So I'm going to give you a 60-second practice. This is going to be a standard for the PAW practices. Whenever you come into this fold, you will have these 60-second practices. You can note them down and you can practice them. This is about from mind to the awareness. 60-second practice. See, philosophy becomes real only through practice. Otherwise, it will stay in your mind. So here is the simple way to shift from identification with the thought to resting as an awareness. A practice you can return to it throughout your day, not just in the morning. Notice a thought, first of all. Catch any thought as it arises. Don't judge it, push it away. What do we say? Observe the thought. Simply notice it. There is a thought. See it as an object of awareness rather than being in the thought. Awareness is ourselves and thoughts are objects to us. And ask the question, who is aware of this thought? Turn your attention back toward the awareness itself. Don't search for an answer. That is the mind, the thought again. Feel into the knowing presence that resisting the experience. And then rest as that presence. So first you notice thought, then you ask the question, who is aware of this thought? Then you are resting in that awareness, in that presence. For 3 conscious breaths, simply rest as the aware presence. Let the breath soften the body. You are not forcing silence. You are recognizing the space that is always here. Recognizing that, which means it's already there. And then return to service, return to action, with a spirit of service. So Karma Yoga is embodied awareness. Let actions arise from that presence rather than compulsive thinking. Okay? I'm very excited about this because this is a solution for a lot of things. So this is what we are doing here, synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern life. Remember, thought is the wave in the ocean of awareness. So thought is the wave, awareness is the ocean. I am not the thought, I am the conscious presence that knows it. Okay? Once you understand that, when Descartes sought certainty through thinking, he stopped short. But already ancients have revealed certainty through being, and they knew thoughts coming and going. The synthesis we need today is use thought as a brilliant tool, but live as awareness itself. I'll repeat it again. Use thought as a brilliant tool, but live as awareness itself. That's what I'm doing. I'm telling you every day. I'm aware, I stay in that presence and use thought consciously and end thought consciously. Let it slip into silence. See, we are not rejecting modernity. We are completing it. We are not suffering the effects of it because we are not completing it. Thought is a magnificent instrument, no doubt about it. Language, mathematics, planning, creativity, all depend upon the thought. But awareness is the musician. Thought is an instrument, but musician is the awareness. When we know ourselves as the ocean rather than any particular wave, life becomes fluid, spacious, and deeply at ease. So carry one micro moment of awareness into your next conversation, your next email, your next meal. Let philosophy become living practice. Return again and again to the simple knowing presence that has always been here. Knowing presence, that is one. That is the ground of being, the light of consciousness, the truth of what we are. Carry one micro moment of awareness into your conversation, whatever you do. That is my whatever I wanted to say. I told you guys. So anybody wants to come up now, please come up. And you could tell me, what did you get out of it? Peter, what do you say? There is Peter.
I say namaste.
Namaste. So did I blow your mind away?
Yeah, I love it. And so listening to you, you're what I now call my constant companion of my consciousness.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that is the correct way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that, Dr. Rao, because, I've told you before that as I listen to you, my vitals drop. I become keenly aware and just perceptive. And it's just a way to live.
And that is the blowing away the mind.
Basically, it's blowing the clouds from the sky.
Not being violent, but basically you put that mind in arrest. See, that is what I was talking about. I'm not your teacher, but I'm your companion in exploring your own inner life.
Which I absolutely love, and I love you for it because it's such a gift for me. It really is.
No, it came from not from me, Peter. It came from Ramana Maharshi. He said, "I'm not your teacher, but I will be there for you explore. I will throw the light on the inner path that you have to walk." So that's other people, oh, I am the powerful, you should be my slave.
Right.
I'm going to give you this. Nonsense. It's not like that.
Yeah. Right.
I'm glad you came to that realization. Very good.
Yeah. Yes. And I was talking to my daughter about you today, and I'm going to have her tune in. She's downloaded the app, but it's just really, for me, it's just so special when you come on and talk, because it does give me that reminder, and it's a gift to me that comes through you, if you'd allow me to say that. Like, it's a gift that you're passing on, a gift that's really ancient knowledge, and it's time tested through the ages.
I would say touching reality together.
Say that again.
Touching reality together.
Patching reality together.
Otherwise, we are just thinking about it, imagining things and all that, but we are not aware of how the inner, as a grown-up being,
Yeah.
And once we are there, we are human beings. We both have the same intelligence. We both have the same instrument, but we are not released from the thoughts, because we create ourselves. I told you several times, this is a spider releasing the thread and builds up a network and gets caught in it.
Right.
That is our affair. Right. Modern man's state of affairs is that.
It's a dilemma.
Yeah. No, actually, we are really caught in the modern society. Western societies a lot, and also Eastern societies. There's no difference now. All of us caught in that.
I know. That saddens me every time you say that.
Yeah, no, but sad is a fact, though. It's not like we are creating something. I know. And you know what? Why it has to be dealt with me by? Because if I remain by myself in my own self-inquiry and all that, I am the happiest. I don't have any burdens or anything. But people come with problems, depressions, anxieties, and really worsening their metabolic illnesses because they think too much about it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to really be well. They kind of...
That's suffering.
Like last night, I was talking to my friend she has diabetes, right? And that's not being controlled with the traditional measures and all that. And she went to a movie yesterday, for example, and she has this continuous glucose monitoring. And she was supposed to take something to eat and all that. She didn't do that, but she's worried about, I could go low, I could go high. That's a thinking going on. And she was constantly checking the blood sugar. See how her own thinking got her thing much worse.
Yeah, it can almost get neurotic.
Yeah, it is neurotic. Neurotic is nothing but something aimlessly by repeating the same thing again and again and again. And also,
I don't mean that derogatorily. But
no, it's a compulsive thing. It kind of happens to us and it repeats itself. Yeah. So you are taken over by the thinking rather than you are using the thinking as a brilliant tool.
Yeah.
So I have to make her understand that, see for herself what is going on within herself, created by herself. Right? There is no teaching, nothing. Just allowing her to explore her own activity impartially, without judging her, without telling her you're doing wrong, nothing. I didn't even have to make her feel that she is doing something wrong to her. I just have to show what exactly is happening.
Do you know what I was thinking of earlier? You were talking about Eckhart Tolle. I was thinking about, this is a question I have for you. Like, say between me when I dream and when the yogi dreams, is it thought that I'm dreaming, or is it awareness? Like, say, for me, the yogi would dream even in awareness, just perceiving his or her dream.
No. The thing happens is, the dreaming is a consequence of your experiences or remnant things. Sometimes it could be intimation about the future. Right. But that's all created within the realm of the thinking.
So it's so not awareness.
Yeah, but I will give you a very simple thing that you can do yourself to confirm this. Okay. One day takes tomorrow. anything that you do, do what I tell you to do. What it is, attention to every action. Whatever you do, keep your mind on that completely. Okay?
Right.
Don't think anything beyond that. Try as much as possible.
Right.
Then, when you go to sleep, see your mind is very rested because it doesn't have to put order back into itself. You don't have any thoughts because you are paying attention to everything.
Yeah.
I told you guys also lots of times why I sleep so well is because I pay attention to everything as it is happening in my life.
Yeah.
So then what happens is the struggle of putting order back into our disordered mind, which was created by us by not paying attention. So suppose all these intellectuals come on there and they don't understand any of this because their mind is constant agitation. That is the sympathetic overtone I was talking about. When you have that, the job of sleep is what? Put back the order. Detoxify your mind. Detoxify your body.
Never thought about it that way.
Huh?
But I never thought.
Yeah, you don't allow it. That's what happens with many people. Their body is tired and it has to go to sleep. But when you go to the sleep, body repairs itself. That is the natural body clock, right? And especially 11 to 3 is the one. It not only detoxifies the body, all the organs, the liver, and all that, but also it repairs the mind mechanism.
Yeah.
When you are in awareness, you are already together. You don't have multiple thoughts going all over. That's why in the morning when I tell you, get up, be aware, and delay the thoughts coming on. Right now, what is happening is we wake up thinking, we think through the day, and we sleep on thinking. Neurotic.
No rest.
Neurotic. It's basically neurotic. So, what is the solution? Deliberately reflect and see the conclusion. And then what I say, don't cling on to the thoughts. Learn the insight of what happened with your experience, but don't carry all the data.
Don't carry the data. Right.
But everybody, oh, Peter's personality is this, Peter would react like this. All this thinking going on. Why can't it be Peter has the presence as a human being and everything else comes and goes? Let it go. Then I'm not judging you by your thoughts, by your attributes, but I'm judging you as a human being and accepting you completely wholly like that.
Right.
See, that is love. Don't have to say I love you. That is accepting and really giving. They say, why do you have to come and tell you, oh guys, all these things? Because the love tells you people are suffering. People are having these problems. And that's why we want to help.
Yeah.
You see, Atmano Mokshardham, first realize yourself and then Jagat Hitaicha. Once you have done justice for yourself, you understood who you are, then go out and help the world.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Namaste. Beautiful. Namaste. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So that is, I'm glad that Peter was able to explore his own inner being while we are going through this experience of really exploring these things. That's what it is. Don't listen to the information only. Don't listen like it is an information thing. But explore yourself, your inner self, as these ancient truths are brought to you. It's not about titles. It's not about authority. It's not about me being a big shot. None of that matters. They're all transient. They come and go. But be in the being that we are all in. That is the oneness we are all in. And then not able to be there, we have the loneliness. We have the separation. We have the suffering. Thank you. So I hope This makes sense. It's a very important civilization question. What ancient used to be mired in that conscious being. All cultures, not just only India, China, Japan, they are ahead because they went into much more deeply. There are thousands of years of civilization. But the young Western countries, they are all led by this Descartes statement: I think, therefore I am. Everything is built on thought, but thought has built brilliant things, but also thought also breed this neurotic activity, separation from yourself, others, and all. Then that results in suffering. That's why you need to realize who you really are by turning inward, not by thinking about yourself, not by telling you, oh, I'm this, I'm that. No, put that all aside. Silent mind, that's why it's needed, so that you can really see the resting ease of yourself right there. Thank you, and I will see you again when I have the time. Thank you. Bye bye. Then it's let me close this thing.